All right. This is a bit of a blast from the past type video. A friend by the name of Hero in the Return to Castle Wolfenstein speedrun community reached out to me to talk about a potential issue in the last level of Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Since I worked in the game, he thought maybe I had some insights. So we're going to evaluate what's going on here and see if we can come to a conclusion. I've done this video. This is my third time doing it. I just didn't like the first two, so I think I know what's going on now. Anyways, let's go ahead and go through it. We're going to watch this user play through. He's already had combat with the enemies, or the last boss is, but he has not killed them all the way. He's just about to. But I don't know what happens prior. So that's kind of important information because he may have done something in particular that could have enabled this bug. So we'll go through those steps and theory craft, or just come up to a conclusion or assume he had done a particular move that caused this bug to occur. But let's go ahead and go through all the steps. And as we're going through this video, just note where the player is at. I'm going to go and pause. The player's on like a platform, just what we call brush, like just a normal, just like solid floor, but it's a square. And it goes way out here and it comes back. So he never really encroaches the center in this video, but that's crucial information. As when we go through this video, we'll see what's going on. So the player is shooting the enemy, shooting Super Soldat 1. Then he's gonna, so as that one dies, he's now moving over to this one. He's just on the inside of the pillar. Doesn't quite encroach the center of the platform, so to speak, and he kills the last one. And that is the bug. What ends up happening is the last door, which is the floor opens up, which is a door, and you go through it, and that's the end of the game. But in his case, it does not. And he's pretty upset about it, which is totally fine.
Second run killed by this fucking stupid bullshit.
And the user's not very happy. So let's see what happens. So he still stays on the outside of that platform I was talking about.
You're welcome.
And then let's see what happens here. Yeah, it's still staying on the outside. It's not opening. He's expecting it to open. He believes it's just a timer.
I don't know what to do.
He's called out Hero, saying he's going to contact Hero, see what happened, and then watch what he does here. This is important too. Watch what he does. He goes through center.
They happen again. I just had another run.
And then boom,
Thank you,
it occurred. So yeah, so this is what we're going to work with. I'm going to go and go back a bit on this because we're going to revisit this video. But so we're going to look at this from the scripting perspective and the editor perspective. The 3D view is kind of big. This map was decompiled because I don't have the actual source. It is sold. It was decompiled, and it doesn't have, and some of the data is kind of messed up. So we're just going to go ahead and hide the stuff we don't care about. I've already done this a few times, so I know what to look for. The important entities are these triggers. I'm going to collect the floor as well. And then let's see what else is there. Let's get some pillars just for reference. Sorry about my Discord blowing up right now. Some friends. And one more. Okay. So we're just going to take these and this pillar. So these are what we care about. And I'm going to create in here inside of the editor just a info player start to represent the player. Okay, now I'm going to go to, so that way when I click and drag them around, hold on, let's go this way. Let's get center, and so that way top-down view matches the camera. All right, so let's look at the script. All right, how this works is this accum 0 bit reset 10 is very important. It's mainly, it's a flag essentially. It's like a true or false. That's all this is going to be doing. It's going to be either reset it, meaning set it to false, or it's going to set it, which sets it to true. And so we just care about a bit set of 10, but associated with Acume 4. All right. The last explosion, this part, is what needs to execute in order to exit the level. And during the execution of last explosion, it checks to see if Acume 0 bit 10 has been set. If it has been set, so if that flag is essentially true, it'll abort. It'll not process any other lines after this one line. It'll not execute. Thus, it'll kick itself out. All right. So that's how bit sets work. It's kind of like just a condition, yes or no. And in our case, it's going to abort if true. All right. And then, so let's keep looking for more. So that's pretty much it. And the only things that will set or reset it are these two things. I'm not going to go into functionality or what these things are, but they're essentially called from a different script. So deny nmap and opened nmap. And in dark.ai, this is like the AI and or player scripts. If we look for these two in here, there's a trigger with a target name of light yes 1, light yes 2, light yes 3, light yes 4 that all call open and map. All right. The only trigger that calls deny nmap, I'm hitting F3 right now, is no light. Okay. So no light means you do not get to end the game, but light yes 1, 2, 3, and 4 all call yes, enable that flag so the map can end. All right. So that's how that is set up. And here are the triggers. So here, this big trigger is very big. And that one is our no light trigger. Okay. And then the outer triggers, some of the data from the deBSP of this map failed. So imagine there's an outer rim right here. And this outer rim is light yes 3 and light yes 4 and light yes 1 and 2. Okay. So those other ones that, oh man, my view got kind of messed up. Let me see if I can get it back. There we go. Close enough. All right. So let's pretend we assume the player during his combat before the beginning of that clip, he did this. He went through the trigger and he barely touched the no light trigger like that right there. Sorry, let me select it again. And went back out. And here's a trick, or not a trick, but here's a thing that I saw when evaluating this. This wait 1 says seconds between triggering. So what that means is if the player touches this, so like it just touches it, then it will not know the players, and it essentially will not trigger again for another second. So if the player is really fast and you move really, really fast in Return to Castle Wolfenstein, if you go like if you go into the trigger, go past the outer trigger, and then hit the no light trigger. So sorry, deselected, and then come back out within 1 second, you would have essentially set the no light trigger and thus the deny and map flag to true. It would set that to true. So it would not continue after this line. All right, so that's what I think had happened during his normal play before fighting the last two bosses. All right, so so he was in a state where it would not trigger. So if we look at the logic of following what calls this stuff, so we're going to go to it's SS2 for the second boss. If we go down to death portion, so when the guy dies, the last one, Super Soldat 2 dies, it will call end map loop, which is over here. And this loop, how this works, it says, hey, if bit set 7, or if this bit for Acume 07 is set, then abort. And that's just done through this, just more information really. But this occurs, this actually gets set once the door opens. So we're going to ignore that. This does not affect us. But this last one, but what ends up happening is it'll actually start executing the last explosion. It'll wait 3 seconds, which is a huge thing to remember. And then it'll check and evaluate those flags that we were mentioning before. All right, so let's go back to that. And then if it failed, right, 13 seconds later, it'll try again. All right, that's how that works. So what probably ended up happening, the user that we were watching that clip got into a state where basically aborted. And then he was running around, you know, like, what's going on? He kept running around like, I don't know what's going on. I'm mad. Game sucks. Blah blah blah. And then he went like this, and then he kind of dwindled around a bit, and boom, it triggered. Right? It was actually coincidental, the timing, I believe. I don't think it had anything to do with hold on, thinking. Yeah, I think he could have actually had a potential bug in there somewhere. Yeah, actually. Interesting. Anyways, so what ended up happening, he went around and he went from up here, and what he had done was he hit this trigger, so he set the flag to false, so it should continue, but it was probably in that loop of 13 seconds waiting to try again. It was probably in here waiting 13 seconds. Cool, I'm waiting 13 seconds. So it set the flag to true, then he went inside, it set to false. Sorry, I had to reverse. Hit the outer trigger, set that flag to false, which means, hey, go ahead and run the map. Nothing's blocking you. Oh wait, you're too close to the center, so block you. Don't, you know, so it set it. But then he hit the outer trigger, which is a different trigger, like light, yes, 4, and set it back to, then reset that flag. And then he was fine. Then he came back over here. If he just stayed over here, it would have triggered on its own, I believe, and he wouldn't have to do anything. But then he hit this trigger. Again, which probably didn't do, it probably just reset it. And right here's right when it actually opened up for him. So to kind of revisit that, the VOD. So like right now he's stuck in that state. I don't know what's going on.
I need to talk to Hero.
Hold on, fast forward a bit. And so now he's going to go through. Boom, he enabled it. He disabled it. So he enabled ending, then disabled ending. But we're still in that 13 seconds. And then boom, we hit it. We got to the outer edge again. That re-enabled it. And so now the ending is enabled. So I don't know what the timer is. So
I just had another run.
Let's see. Yeah, he barely got lucky because, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Because I feel like he could have had a bug where if he was going straight in. Yeah, I think there's actually quite a few bugs in this, now thinking about it. If you go straight in during the loop, right, you can stand right here. So you hit this outer trigger saying, hey, enable the ending, but then you immediately touch this one and then stop moving. I think you can have a bug there. It would not trigger. It would not go again. So you'd have to actually walk out the trigger and stay out there for an additional 13 plus seconds for it to actually do the last explosion. So yeah, I mean, to fix this bug really is a couple of things, but we're not going to fix it. I would probably put the condition at the very beginning, and then instead of that wait 3 seconds, and then I don't know, there are probably a few different things. I definitely script this completely different in Call of Duty, but anyways, that is the issue that I am seeing here, especially since he was able to retrigger it. But anyways, hope that answers some questions and provide some insight to Return to Castle Wolfenstein. It was a fun project. It was actually my first project. But yeah. Anyways, GG.